project I already streamed maybe 2 months or 3 months ago. At the time I did not record it all in full, and I don't think it's posted on the Twitch channel. But what I did, I took it and speeded it up and uploaded it to the YouTube art channel. As well made it to take some screenshots for the waiting screens for my channel. Now I'm going back. I want to take more screens, but there were problems, some flaws in the design that made me abandon it at the time and move on to other projects. Now I want to take other shots of it. I want to add new things, and I think I will keep it for the future. Each time I develop something new in 3D art, and each time I learn something new, I will add it to the scene until we get a better image each time. So it's going to grow as the channel grows. And now I'll be mainly focused on solving the problem I had last time. Let's start. That's our scene. And it's been a while since I last streamed. And here's the scene. The camera I'm using is to navigate. So one of the problems I had is this red light. I wanted to, when I last, I deleted it from the channel because when I last, just a second. Yeah, when I last streamed, it did not develop as expected. And because of the current hardware, I decided to leave this idea for some time later. And maybe I will find another way to do it. So this is one of the few things that didn't work, and it doesn't matter. I'm going to delete it. And hopefully now our scene will be better than expected. I want to, let me see. I want to add something. Yeah, I want to add the phrase rendering to the scene because we'll need it as a, in Maya it's not going all to be navigating and designing. Even though normally I would leave that at the end, this is an already designed project, and all I did is just duplicate some parts of it, including this donut, which I will change its design from the other ones. But now we've seen everything designed on the YouTube channel, except for this guy, which I designed way earlier before I streamed. And you can see the design of this character. Yeah, Amazon Box Smile. His name is Dambo. And it was very famous for BlackBerry users. It had very nice art and heart-touching art. So maybe in the future I will get to that, but it's very simple than to have a complete stream of how to design it. It's just made out of boxes and photoshopped cardboard textures. So that's not a problem. Let's worry about the background and the scene and the bars we can add and subtract. Just I want to bring the rendering screen Where did it go? Yeah, there you go. Just to indicate that we might leave the scene to be rendering. So this is one of the flaws I had last time. It was causing unnecessary distortion. I think it's gone now. It should be gone. Because that's what we want to focus on doing. And there it renders very beautifully. Yeah, these white squares, you can see little ones up there, were supposed to look like stars. Some of them were on the very far background, but most of them will need a computer cluster to render. Probably normal hardware won't render such a scene, so it's better to have it deleted for now and find another way. I wanted to have the glowing stars between the center where we take photos. Let's see how it goes now. Hopefully I will get to fix that. The photo I use for the waiting screens did not have the background. It was black, and it rendered very beautifully as night, but I wanted to add some sense of dawn and the feeling of some more toward Christmas atmosphere. So this looks like dawn, and dawn is a beautiful time, especially in art. Hopefully you have those gone, because I have a lot of new ideas to add. But I think it's better to do it each time, one thing. If you want to see how everything was designed, I think the video uploaded, it was a speed design, a speeded video. I think it had the background designing. It didn't take much time to do. I'm not sure. At that time I did not care to capture everything I do. But now we have our plans settled. We'll keep working on that way. The thing I did offline is I was trying to find the best backup version of this project. Only drag this donut with its elements, copied it, and copied this sweet decoration, and made them white. And a little bit I added glow to them, some light. That's normal in 3D design. Sometimes the designers, even though the object does not in fact glow like light, but in order to get a better scene and sometimes more realistic, there's some glow to make it look more real. That's just it's just how the human eye sees it. And maybe we'll add some sci-fi to it, because there's no reason There's no reason not to do it. I think they're gone now, but I can't judge it now, just yet. This noise is rendering noise. The ones up there, I'm not sure. We have to wait and see. A lot of people use Blender to stream. I think it's a better idea. Blender is the heart of the technology, even though it's a free open source software. Everything develops. It's ahead of all the other ones. I think it was designed in Greenland. Anyway, Maya is very expensive for normal use, especially for hobbyists. It's only available for free for educational purposes, either teaching or studying. As a student, you can have the free version, but Maya is a very expensive software, and it's much better than Blender and its interface and its ease of use and how supported it is. Many of the famous softwares, one of the famous movies, either animation and or real movies, had were designed using Maya. Blender normally in the industry, they consider Blender for personal learning very good, but in their projects, they don't. For some reason, they don't prefer to use Blender. They all use Maya, and these projects don't run on just normal computers or gaming computers. They use supercomputers, sometimes 100 computer, sometimes more, all working at once to render. And that's what makes a difference. But hopefully as the technology develops ahead, the computers become stronger, the needed processing will be less than before. And the limit for the development of such technology is just human comprehension, human eye. To some point, there will be, our eyes won't be able to see the difference, and there is where the technology stops and has to develop somewhere else in another way. So this is not the actual angle we will use, and the scene is still not ready. But I'll wait, and if those are gone, it will be excellent. We can work on this further. This accuracy. That's one. The good thing about music on the background is when I'm silent there's something continuous. But we'll deal with that in the future. Let's see. Actually, I'm going to change the angle. Not that close. Yeah, these squares, they should be gone. This might be rendered differently on a computer cluster, but I'm trying to push the technology in here. I think I might just go and delete those. Should we? These green dots should be gone. Because if we see without rendering, they should be working as stars. But when they render, they look bigger. For some reason, it doesn't capture when I choose menus. It's only in Maya. It doesn't happen with other softwares. If I try to save the scene. Yeah, invisible, which is good sometimes, but especially when doing tutorials, it's not a good idea because you want to tell people, show people, and teach them what to do. And these menus are very long, each one, and each one has its sub menus. But all of them are much easier than Blender, which I'll have to get to learn sometime in the future. But for some reason, people, employers in the industry do not employ people for Blender. They want them to know other softwares, the paid ones. ZBrush, they want Maya, one of the most important, and some companies have their own built engines. Okay, I'm going to take steps actually and design. But before I do that, I want to separate because I brought all of these to this project. I want to hide the path. We have endless dots in there. Most of the time, tutorials are, most of the time, if you want to get to design something in 3D, it doesn't matter which software, either Blender or Maya. It's just the same basics. Variations in the user interface, and some very advanced features won't matter much. But I find Blender very complex to use, especially when it's used for hard surface modeling and then switch to the 3D sculpt and switch to other elements. It's not easy at all. For some reason mine is easier. And actually very few ones out there. Now that I ask the computer to detach every part on its own, because all of them now are one object, are now considered one object. They move together, they scale together, everything happens to all of them. So I asked the program to separate them. Each one will be on its own. And the already designed ones like in here, we don't need to do anything with them. I'll just isolate them from the scene. The problem with the very lots and lots of stars, which are making the real problem. And actually the only missing part in other backups, other than the perspective cameras, is the background. It's not, I cannot take it to another project without losing details. It has many layers, not all of them can be exported. It would have been better if I streamed with the camera as well. Yeah, I think the computer's getting crazy. It's streaming, playing music, and doing 3D calculations at the same time. So I'll wait for it. It had a very good start. Half of the problem was solved. But now it's a matter of time. Probably offline would work better. But we won't worry about this. So I'm going to be right back. I know there was some distortion in parts of the video, but that's fine. Be right back. I'm back. Now it's if each one is on its own, each part. But I can see this is taking the computer so much processing. So I want to hide them, isolate these guys and the background and that one as well. Now we can see the stars, but they didn't render correctly. I don't think I made 3 layers, did I? Let's get to the 8th camera. And those stars are causing the distortion. They're just out of control. And sadly we have to get rid of them. It was meant to be this way when it gets rendered, but they're not this way at all. If we try to render, they look bigger and the same. If we hit, yeah, it's rendering. It won't fully process the scene. Even though it's very beautiful, it can be very beautiful. When it's complete, it won't. It won't do much. So we'll have to sacrifice this for now. And leave it for some time in the future. We will fix it. we'll get to make it work. Now we have to stop. And continue what we started. Actually, I'll keep a copy, call it stars. Stars. On the other, is more about the sky, so let's call it dawn. Those are not the real problem. I tried to render them before in one of the streams. I went off to bed and left it to render. It did not render correctly. The effect is not this way. But the part that really was causing problems was inside the scene. So let's have our friends isolated. And get these deleted. They should be gone. Yeah, sadly. That's a lot of layers. It should create a very beautiful galaxy this way. As the camera moves inside the scene, we can see the stars move along in simulation of real life. Hopefully there's no lights behind there. I don't see any lights. Actually, let's to avoid the deleting lights in Maya, if we combine multiple objects, if we hit mesh and then combine, it will become green, which means it's one object. I'm actually going to delete history for the unnecessary data and needed to be removed so the computer will function better. This is very important to do on a regular basis. So last time, the time when I took the break, it's still taking time to process, and that's fine because there are very lots and lots of objects to process, which shouldn't have been there in the first place because they exceed the computer capabilities. And there is no limit for these like Blender and Maya. In real life work, they would if they reach to some point and the the supercomputer they have for the computer cluster processing needs more, they will increase computers, add more, um, upgrade the computer, scale it out and up in order to make it process more scenes. But in their case, they are working on pushing the technology forward. So it's a mixture of working and as well researching and doing university progress. So these guys working on such projects are at the first line of technology. They have to figure new things to design things and get things done and push the boundaries for the technology. That's why the difference is very huge. For example, between the movies. Sometimes you just can't tell, even for the young guys, can't tell the difference. But in the gaming you can tell, and that's because of the way each one is rendered. Gaming normally is a real-time rendering, and the console has to keep rendering, and the computer has to render each frame very fast. So they have to bring down the resolution of the graphics to suit the average user and the current generation. But that's why in the 90s we had very perfect real movies versus very limited graphics for game consoles. Gaming normally has to render frame by frame, which is a lot of processing. In case of the movies, the animations gets rendered by supercomputers. And for a supercomputer to render, for example, one of the animation movies, some of them take from 50 computer clusters, 50 computers working as one computer, supercomputer, up to 100 and even beyond that number, just to render one scene of those movies come out after the 90s. And once they are rendered, they're recorded, each frame is captured as the designers and the directors design it. And then they just have it in normal size after that. Any device, any CD can handle the size with the exact resolution, in fact. Because the rendering takes does more of raw data. Raw data in computers are not a good thing. They are newly created. They have to be compressed in any way. They have to be compressed down. If that doesn't happen, if you take a normal photo with your mobile, it would take maybe 200 gigabytes for a very simple photo, one of the ones you take. That's why the computer designers, when the computer captures such very large data, it can't save it at that amount, so they have to bring it down by a lot, and then that won't make any difference in the quality most of the time, unless it's brought to very low resolutions. And that's human comprehension. So in the case of the movies, they just need to render the scene once, and they record it and keep it on CD, or any other normal computer can do the rest of the work. But in the case of game consoles, the rendering happens constantly, and normal users can't have a supercomputer to play a video game. It's not how it works. It's used for designing more. No one's going to use a supercomputer or 100 computers to play a game. That's unreal. Only designers get to those numbers. So that's not something to worry about. The technology is improving, and by a lot actually. It happens fast. And what was in the 90s very difficult and nearly impossible then, today and the coming years, the technology will match the movies. And I don't think we are too much far from the point that the technology already exceeds human comprehension. I think the amount of frames human eye can capture at maximum, I think it was 90 frames per second. More than 90, if you had 1 million or 90, your eyes will only see the 90. Will see 90 out of the millions. It's no difference. It's just the limitation. And that also applies for colors as well. Resolution. I think maybe 8K, or let's say even 20K. After 20K, if you go to 2 million K, the human eye won't tell the difference at all. It will be just the same thing. So that's the only limit the technology can get to. So they have to find other ways to develop technology. And certainly, as creativity, it's just started. Creativity is endless, and it's just 10 to 20 years for 25 years this industry started. It's just the very beginning of it. Creativity is endless, and there's a lot humans will create. Which has nothing to do with the technology itself. It won't matter much. Even if the development is complete, and reached out to the limit. But who knows, each time people say, and even scientists sometimes say, those are the limits, there's nothing beyond that. Technology proves them otherwise. Yeah, sometimes scientists will say, okay, that's the end of it. There's nothing beyond this can be made. It's just unimaginable. It won't exist. And not very long it exists, and even more crazier than the scientist was saying it's impossible. Or the normal person. So that's going to take forever, it seems. But I'm very pleased we solved half of the problem. That's if it takes one day, we can wait for it. This is happening because I'm using a very standard computer for complex graphics. Because as I said many times, skill is more important than equipment. It seems I already reached out to the limits of this computer. When I started, yeah, that was very correct. But now my projects are starting to lag, and other than creating new projects each time, I have to upgrade and maybe take this project with me and see how far we can get them. If that takes longer, I might just go and end the stream. Yeah, just Maya. That's lagging. I'll leave it to take its time. Be right back. Hi, so we're back. Now it's complete. I'm going to highlight it on its own. And the thing I wanted to say is to highlight it, is to click on it, not just delete right away. Because if we select everything, combine everything, and delete, we'll also delete lights and other parts in the background. But what we want is just click and hit the delete. Now it should process that. Before I continue, we'll probably still have the lags. So I need to go to the history and delete history. That won't delete. We'll delete just the logs. Now let's get everything back. Display, show, and all. Everything is back. Hopefully now. And maybe I will leave this donut for next time, because I want to make sure the background scene is very clear, which is very important. So I'll leave this one for the future. Actually, let's combine these. We'll need them combined. Now if I and hide them, I won't delete. I'll save that. And now hopefully I'll have we'll have a very clear sky. And the very same scene we've captured without the background when it was black, and the waiting screens I've designed for this channel. Just a second, yeah. Hopefully now we'll have the beautiful dawn sky, and that will be the only difference, and some lighting differences. Later I will add the lights, and lights will be part of this. This will glow. Oh my god, that's so cute. He's taking a bath. Okay, now we created a problem because we selected. Later I will show you how to fix that. Now we don't need that. What I wanted to do, we have a lot of cameras. Now we want to actually render. Let's change our perspective camera, and hopefully we will have the sky very clear. It must be one of the first ones. And for now I will choose the wider screen, because we want a very high resolution, the highest we can find. I'm sure I left, yeah, I think this is the one that matches waiting screens I have on my channel. Let's make sure our sky is clear, and then we'll worry about the rest. Yeah, it's rendering. Deselect. Wow, that's so beautiful. Yeah, we can see now that the sky is very clear, and it's matching the ground in a very beautiful way. The horizon. We only have fixed robots in here, we'll fix later. So does this match the ones in the Streamlabs? Let's see. This is the Be Right Back. Is it the same angle? I think it's the same. Maybe I didn't use the expert view. Yeah, this is done. We'll keep this for the next time. Now it's going to be beautifully rendered. So there we go, the sky is clear. Everything is clear actually, not just the sky. Let's disable that. We are at camera 5, camera 6. And this scene in particular we want to see. We want to see the background, the sky. Maybe it was this one that matched the Be Right Back. Is it the same? This one had no background, the horizon was sky, and it matches the night sky, a dark night. This one has dawn in the background. Let's actually see. Later I will, if the horizon is not perfect, the line, we can, I think we can do it in other ways. I think also we can add the clouds. It would be very beautiful inside the scene. But I leave that to how fast the computer will process it. So until this fully renders, I'll be right back. Okay, so let's next time we'll start from here and we'll continue rendering as well. We'll continue designing.